And welcome into another episode of Musketeer Made, presented by Fremont Tire. I am Connor Ryan.
And I'm Travis Morgan.
It says Travis Musketeers right now, but hey, it's close.
It's all one and the same.
In some countries, Morgan could be pronounced as Musketeers.
Yeah, in Haiti, I think is.
Yeah. Nice Caddyshack reference. Here today, our guest is part of Travis. We were kind of running through the names earlier. Would you perhaps say this is he was part of one of the most talented Sioux City Musketeers teams that have come through here?
In a while. Yeah, I mean, I think that Brandon Hawkins was on that team, 2013, 14, and they were 38, 19, 0-3. A ton of talent on that team. Some NHLers are on that team. Hawk has had a very good pro career as well. And then just some young men that had a great career in juniors and then in college. They just and I think they ran into something in Waterloo. I think that was a little, I don't know. I mean, I don't want to say anything, but it was a very crazy time down the playoffs, and we'll get into that here in this podcast and get Hawk's opinion on it, because that was when if let's put it this way, if Hard Knocks was there doing a story on that playoff run, there was plenty of material to get people to watch. With all the stuff that's happening on and off the ice that year.
It was questionable.
Yeah, thank you. He said it. I did not. I did not say that. He said that. So,
and you know what? And you know what? It was weird is Jay ran a tight ship. So to say it was questionable means that something went haywire.
Mm-hmm. So let's just start off by this. Okay, let's start off by one of the most craziest, ballsiest, and perhaps dumbest thing I've seen a goalie do ever. I round of applause ahead of time though. So in a game that appeared where Sioux City got hooked with some officiating, as the game ends in the playoffs, this is a conference finals.
Yep. And
the game ends in Waterloo. I think Sioux City skated shorthanded like. It was a lot in that game.
It was like 45 or 47 out of 60 minutes.
Yes, Sioux City skated shorthanded. The game ends. The game ends, by the way, with a 5-on-3.
Yeah.
For Waterloo, and Kyle Hayton stood on his head for about a minute 18 just to prove we knew we weren't going to win at that point. But Kyle Hayton stood on his head for like a minute 18, skating 2 men short, just to prove a point to them and maybe the officiating crew that you're not going to show us up right here, right now. I'm not going to let one in. He played great. He played great. But Hawk, do you remember what he did at the end of that game?
No, I'm blanking. I might have got off quick.
So Kyle Hayton skates over, grabs the game puck, skates to the referee at center ice, puts the puck in the official's chest and here. He says, "Here's the game puck. You earned it. You should keep it." And the ref just looks at him and it just falls right at his feet. And Kyle Hayton skates off. Have you heard this story, Hawk?
No, I haven't.
Oh my gosh! Are you serious?
Nope, dead serious.
So all right? Because Colin Olsen started the next game, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's why Colin Olsen, the goaltender, started the next game because of that. You remember you remember this game though, but you don't.
Yeah, I remember the game. So listen, when we lose, I get off the ice. That's just how I am. I get off before I do something I regret. That's just how I am. So I got off fast. So just know that that's not out of his character to do that. So I'm not that surprised.
But to do it to an official at a playoff game
is wild.
Yes. So what do? I show the clip. I'm working in TV at the time, Channel 9. I show the clip on Channel 9. The clip goes kind of quasi-viral, and the league sees it. Sees it, and they suspend him for the next game. And then
that's why we had to call up Gornett.
Well, but yeah, Colin Olson was your started the next two games because he won the next game, and then Jay started him the next game after that as well.
Yeah,
leaving Hates on the bench, and end up that you lost that game and ended up losing the series. But now, to their credit, Waterloo had a very good team that year. They didn't need any help, but
they were good.
Montour was on that team, I believe, as a D man.
Montour, Russell, Sanford, Friedman, a good amount of Sheehy. They had a good amount of names that were really good.
Yeah, but take us back to your time in Sioux City. I just kind of gave a quick story. By the way, I've never seen it before. I've never seen a goalie hand the game puck to a referee before and say you earned it after they got hooked.
You play in the East Coast League long enough, you'll see some crazy stuff too. Well, I got drafted to Sioux City. I played junior hockey in Texas, in Frisco, Texas, for the Texas Tornadoes. Tornado. Don't want them coming after me. Although the team's gone. They folded or sold the team the year after the year I played for Sioux City. So I got drafted by Brett Larson. And then Lars took the job, I believe it was with Ohio State, correct?
Yep.
So I took the job with Ohio State, and Jay came in and he was very upfront and honest with me, said that, hey, I'm going to give you an opportunity. I understand your game. I like you as a player, and we'll just see how it goes. And I credit just about all of it to Jay, because he didn't have to do that for me. He didn't have to give me a shot in hell, and he really made it worth my while. So I got an opportunity to play in Sioux City, and I loved it there. I still talk to my billet dad quite a bit, Mike Barazia, and then he actually came and saw me play in Iowa last year against the Heartlanders. So it was awesome seeing him too.
Best billet cook in the league, bar none.
Best billet in the league, bar none.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
So, I was going to say,
go ahead.
No, I was going to say I've heard the rumor about his cooking. What's your favorite dish from the Barazia household? Yeah,
it's the famous bolognese. That's his famous thing.
Yep. He's a straight Italian guy that loves the Italian dishes.
Oh, I think his dad was straight off the boat.
I think so.
That's serious. I think his dad, they came over from Italy.
Now, you got to play with guys like Adam Johnson, Joe Snively, Joe Lesperance. Those are some NHL guys.
Yep.
Pionk was on that team, I believe, too. Did you have any idea during that time when you were playing with them at the junior level, you're like, that guy's going to play in the NHL someday?
You know what? You could tell just based off of the drive and the guy that it was, honestly. So, and I roomed with Snively, so you could kind of see the way he thought about the game and the way he wanted to win no matter what. You could see that he wanted it and that he would get there. Lusby kind of had the talent, and I got to play against him in college, and you just saw him get better and better and better. But I got to play with Johns my first pro game in Wilkes-Barre. That was fun. Nice. It was like a reunion.
Nice.
And you knew he was going to play there. His would have been his second year in Sioux City when he absolutely lit it up.
Yeah. Well, I think was he on? Yeah, he played with some studs, obviously, but you talk about those three guys, and Pionk was the guy that he just steady Eddie,
Yeah.
He was just good all the time.
Yeah, wouldn't get beat, had good feet, and always knew how to make a really good first pass with his offensive ability too. So it made him dangerous. So you could kind of understand that at that level, you knew who was going to play in the NHL.
I do remember that team for one thing. Many things, but that it was also a team that really stood up for each other. Like, you guys had a lot of love in that locker room for each other. And I remember, I think it was against Tri-City. There was a rough hit at the end of the year, and on
it was Lincoln.
It was Lincoln on the far boards, and it was almost a line brawl. Yeah. But it really showed, look, you're not going to mess with one. If you mess with one, you got to mess with five, and that really showed a lot of character what that team was made out of.
Well, it was I don't know who I buried one of their more skilled defensemen. I hit him clean, and he stayed down, and I don't know which one of their guys jumped off the bench, and Blake Heinrich, ended up fighting him and beating the wheels off him. So it it was kind of just, it was one of those teams where it was like, you messed with one, you're going to get everyone no matter what happens. So it was like, and it was cool because it didn't matter if it was me or Snively or Johns, somebody would jump out and protect the guys that needed to be protected in that situation.
I remember the fight with Olsen too in the playoffs where things got chippy in the playoffs in Waterloo. And Olsen was a captain. He more or less said, I'm going to go. And he essentially told the guy, like, we're fighting. It doesn't matter what, we're going to go. And
didn't give an option.
No, it didn't give an option. And that's kind of the way that team was too. It was, you could play the rough game. That was not the typical USHL team at that point. The rough stuff had kind of started to go away, but you guys maintained that style. Was that a good style for you? Did you enjoy that, playing that style?
Yeah, it was very good style for us, especially, and you know what? And Jay doesn't preach the fighting part, but like he'll preach sticking up for each other. And so he preached no matter what, sticking up for each other. And that was what we did. It didn't matter who was on the team, what you liked about the guy or didn't like about the guy. He's your teammate, he's your brother. Something goes wrong, you stick up for that person, period. And we played a hard, gritty style of hockey, and that's just how it worked. And when you have to do things like that, that's what happens.
What was it about Sioux City that you enjoy so much? You look back so fondly about, playing for your time here at the Musketeers.
It was so close knit and so much fun. Like, I still keep in touch with like Lloyd Ney and some of the guys like that. Like, he still reaches out and says hello every once in a while. Yep. And I still talk to Jay, especially being in the Wings organization now. I get to talk to him a little bit more than before. But it's definitely cool to, all the guys I played with, I still talk to. So it's like, it's the one thing we have in common. We don't let go of it. And that's how much you can speak about. We loved playing there.
And the city and the fans, the building, talk about that aspect of it too in junior hockey.
Well, that year we had a pretty good fan group no matter what. I think we averaged over 3,000. It was good. I want to say we had that the record game for New Year's against Omaha.
Yeah. That
was a big time. Like, and it was cool because people would recognize you on the street and stuff like that and say hi if you were at the grocery store or something like that. It was cool. It's kind of like playing in Toledo for me here. It's the same thing. It's the people love the hockey. They get behind the team, and that's just how they are. They're a blue collar, gritty community that loves their hockey and loves their team and will stick up for it no matter what.
What was it like playing for Jay Varady? I know you said earlier, he ran a tight ship and preached togetherness, but what's maybe a good, behind the scenes, peeling back the curtain story about Jay?
All right. So this is a personal one with me. This would have been my first hat trick that year against Fargo. We, the day before that, my longtime dog passed away, and Jay kind of saw that I was down in the dumps and pulled me in the office and talked to me, and him and I had a conversation, and he did so well with picking guys up when they were down, no matter what was going on. And you know what? He would never tear someone down in front of a group or anything like that. It would be, if you weren't playing your game the correct way, he'd pull you in the office and you would have a conversation about it. And if you were getting yelled at, guess what? It's behind closed doors. You're not being embarrassed. It's a learning experience type thing. And it really kind of stuck with me that he wanted to pick me up and saw that I wasn't in the best mindset. And I came out in that game and had a hat trick, and mostly probably because of what he said and the fact that he really helped me in that time, because it was hard for me. I wasn't home. I couldn't say goodbye. I couldn't do anything like that. So that's the type of guy he is. He doesn't teach a group. I mean, he does, but he teaches each individual in their own way, because that's how they should be taught. And he understood that not everyone's the same. Everyone deserves their own curriculum. Now,
there was a time when I did see Jay go after somebody in public, and it was the head of officiating in Waterloo during the playoff game with Luke Strand. Do you remember that? Did you remember seeing videos of that?
Oh, hold on. You added Luke Strand in there. Strander's one of my favorite humans in the world, but do not get him wound up, because then bad things are going to happen.
So
especially if you get him fired up. If you get him wound up in a good way, you're going to the moon. But if
Yes.
if you get him fired up in a bad way, I am sorry for everybody that's around.
Yes, that 100%. You're right, 100%. But have you ever seen a video of that when they were talking to the head of officiating in the Waterloo series? Okay, well, a story for another time, but a quick story. So it was after that game. After that game, Jay and Luke had pulled the head of officiating for the USHL aside in the tunnel, and the head of officiating was like, "What do you want me to do? They're kids." He's talking about the referees. They're kids.
Yeah.
And he was almost trying to dismiss it, like, yes, I know you guys skated 46 or 40 minutes of 60 minutes of hockey shorthanded, but what do you want me to do about it, And he said, your players made mistakes. And Jay's like, I agree, our players made mistakes, but, and that's when he goes, well, they're kids. What do you want me to do? They're kids. And Luke Strand it was like somebody lit it and went,
all right, so now I remember this because somebody had to pull him into the locker room.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And he goes, the kids are in that room. No, actually, that was a different thing. But pulling him in the locker room, they went out into the VOM. But when he goes, they're kids, and Luke goes, the kids are in that room. The adults are supposed to be in that locker room. Don't give me that. Blah, blah. And then it was a lot of, we have to beep it, a lot of beeps to get what was there. Yeah. And it got ugly. But they had to go out back in the VOM and hash it out and make things better. But and then he accused Jay, and instead of officiating, accused Jay and Luke of setting it up because all the media guys were there with our cameras shooting this incident 12 feet away. And he's like, how are we supposed to set this up? Like you saw them there, like when we started the conversation. Don't say that we set it up. They didn't set it up,
No, and a lot of people, like, Jay's got a cool head, but if you ever go back and you look at his stats, like, that's not a guy you want to get into it with.
No, not at all.
A couple 300 penalty minute seasons. No, thank you.
It's like the quote that wakata. Yeah.
He's the quietest guy in the room, and that's never the one you fight. Period.
Yeah, right. 100%. So you leave Sioux City, but talk about your time learning at, you played 2 years at Bowling Green, went to Northeastern, you did well there. What was college like for you after, you left Sioux City?
It was, because a lot of guys don't understand this, but because I got to leave home and go live kind of on my own, but with the billet family, it really prepared me in a good way for college, because you don't have the things to lean on. Like, you're on your own in reality once you get to college. So it's really nice. And it was kind of perfect in my own way. And I had, and fun fact, I roomed with Mark Friedman my freshman year, but so him and I had a few talks about our series as we had against them.
Oh, nice.
But college wise, like, it was nice because Jay really prepared me for the hockey side of things. And I feel like I did really well going into school. So, and I knew I had to tighten up on the defensive end and be better defensively. And my offense was there and that could take care of itself, but to take care of the little details. And Jay preached that to me. And I really learned in Sioux City to do that and do the little things better. And then it really helped my game in college progress over that time.
How about the culture shock that was going from, because you're pretty much a Midwest kid, grew up in Michigan, you played a year in Texas, played a year in Sioux City, Iowa, went to Bowling Green, Ohio. What about the culture shock of suddenly moving to Boston, Massachusetts?
It was something. Like, this is in Bowling Green, everybody knows that, everyone, right? You go anywhere in Boston, it's like, first of all, it's one of the biggest cities in the world. You feel like you're being mobbed if you're walking down the sidewalk, period, and you don't know anyone walking around. So the hockey was a lot of fun. It was super skilled. It was super talented. It was, a lot of those guys are NHL hockey players playing in Hockey East, period. So that made it a lot of fun. It was the people part. It was like, there's so many people there, and it never felt like home, like being a small town kid. So luckily I had a couple guys from home there, being Garrett Cockrell and Jake Toit, and the coaches really helped. Jerry Keefe and Jim Madigan made it feel like home, and that really helped me kind of progress in hockey and school, because then I really was able to feel more comfortable in everything that I did.
What are some of the best players that you got? When you look back at your career and you have, you tell your kids, I got to play with this person, this person, this person. Give me maybe your top 5 or top 3 people you look back with, and I go, I played with him.
I haven't thought about this. So my roommate in college is Caden Primo. He won the Mike Richter Award, so that was cool. Very good friends with Adam Gaudette. He won the Hobie Baker. Dylan Secura is probably the most skilled player I've ever played with.
Well, you played with Brock Besser for about 4 games too.
I did play with Bess. Put Bess in there. This list could be long. That's the scary part.
Right. That's what I'm asking. I mean, give me your list of me. I said 5, if you want to, but I'm talking about like guys that you look back on and go, man, he's legit.
Like Montour has to be up there.
Well, you didn't play with him, you played against him, right?
Played against him. Yeah. Like he has to be up there for playing against twice. But like played with, like Snively is there. Like you knew he was going to be good.
Yeah.
Pionk was there. You knew he was going to be good. When I got BG, you knew Friedman could play, period. Let's say Northeastern, Secura, Gaudette, Primo, Zach Aston Reese. You knew they were going to be really good. Like it was like I've had a privilege of playing with so many good players. Like I played midgets with Christian Molanen. He won the MVP of the American Hockey League last year.
Yeah.
Like those are the type of guys I've grown up playing with, and it's been a privilege, but it's also been so much fun.
All right, so now you have a video that has gone viral. I mean, it has gone viral of that goal recently that you scored. Where were you playing at that, by the way? Where was this?
It's called the Cap City Elite League in Columbus, Ohio. It's beginning of summer. It's 3-on-3, then progresses to 4-on-4. It's a lot of NHL guys like Patrick Laine, Jack Roslovic, Cam Atkinson, Sean Corrali. It's so much fun. You got Carson Myers out there, both Sherwood brothers. Like it's a really fun time, honestly.
How hard were you pulling for Hershey in the AHL playoffs? I know you played for Chicago this year, but you had Snively and Bobby Nardella, a couple of former teammates, going for a championship.
Yeah, it's definitely cool to see them win, especially because I got to play for Nards' dad in Chicago this year. So that made it fun. That made it really cool, especially see those guys hoist the cup. Like, there's no better feeling.
Have you been a part of a championship team yet?
Yeah, Fort Wayne Comets. We won the Kelly Cup in 2021.
Now looking back on that team, because the Musketeers won one 2 years ago, won a Clarkie. It really does. It is something special. Talk about how special that the run is, but then the moment you hoist that cup, the brotherhood is almost it's ingrained in together forever.
Yeah.
Talk about
and
that.
Honestly,
what winning it does.
Well, it definitely brings them together, but like you live in history forever together. That was kind of the main thing that we understood. And looking back at it, I don't remember much of the hockey. I just remember of all the fun stuff. Well, the fun stuff and the crappy stuff we had to do to get there, like the 20-something hour bus ride to Allen, Texas, or the 18-hour bus ride to South Carolina to play against them. Like little things like that, and how we kind of just rallied around it. We came up with a thing. You remember in Slapshot, it was Paul. They go up and they go, "Where do we get these guys?" Iron League. So we created these shirts called the Eastern League instead of the ECHL. So that was kind of like we rallied behind it. And it was so much fun. And it's such a brotherhood. And we all keep in touch. Like we have a team text message that we still mess around with probably once, 2 times a week, of all the guys just throwing random stuff in there. And it's a blast.
Does the chirping get better as you get higher?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of stuff is said once you get older.
So your chirp game has gotten progressively better then as well?
It has, but I keep my mouth shut. I don't.
You don't talk a lot.
I play a simple game, and the last thing I want to do is be noticed out there, because then that takes away from my ability to shoot the puck.
So who talks the best trash? Like, or give me the best line that's been said to you where you're like, oh, that's pretty good. I have no response to that, or the best trash talker out there?
Honestly, probably Steve Alexi. I played with him in Toledo last year. He's a personal friend. He won a Stanley Cup with the Pittsburgh Penguins. He's and you know what? He could fight with the best of them. He was a hard-nosed defenseman that made a good first pass and made a living out of it. And some of the stuff that comes out of that guy's mouth that I can't share out of here, but he is one of the funniest human beings I've ever dealt with, playing with and against. So that makes it even better.
So dropping the gloves too. That kind of comes part of the game. I mean, luckily you learned that in juniors and whatnot, but you're never been one to really, you're more of a lover, not a fighter. Am I right?
Right. And you know what? The way I look at it is I might not be tough, but I'm willing. If one of my guys gets buried from behind and I'm there, I have no problem with it. That's the way I always looked at it.
And I think that's probably the best way is people. I think people can respect and get behind that. Like, look, you're out here to score points, but at the same time, you still have to protect your guys. It's the guys that is there a lack of respect in the game for guys that if somebody buries somebody 5 feet away, you don't do anything for that person? I mean, even if is there kind of an unwritten code like, hey, I don't care, just do something?
Yeah, and you're definitely looked at. You're definitely looked at differently too if you don't. If I'm 5 feet away and my defenseman gets buried from behind and I don't do anything about it, nobody's going to do anything for me if I get buried from behind. Yeah. And everyone's going to look like, oh, that guy's soft. And everyone's going to know that. And that'll be gone quick. Like one didn't count as a fight, but I'll say it was. I got in 2 fights last year. One, our tough guy got buried from behind, and I fought in Fort Wayne. And then I fought in Toledo. A guy buried my line mate. It might have been 4 feet from the boards. We were up 7-1.
Oh man!
With like 3 minutes left, and you're trying to take liberties. So I was a little upset with it, and I took advantage of it. And I beat him up.
I beat him up. Yeah,
he was smaller. So, and I don't care what anybody says. That's something you got to do. Period. And you're going to get more respect from it, but it's just part of the game, and it always will be.
Did you think about the fact that? Go ahead.
I was going to say, is that mentality and that thought process is that from Sioux City? Do you think your thoughts and process on that would be different if you hadn't played in Sioux City with the Musketeers?
No, that's from my dad. My dad was he was kind of like me, but he was much tougher. He was a passer though. So he was a passer with the ability to kind of fight anybody. So, and he flat out said, he goes, if someone takes liberties on a teammate and you're the closest guy, that's kind of how it works. You got to be able to protect yourself. And who cares if he goes, you can hold on to a guy and not get your butt kicked, but he goes, just to throw your gloves down and do it, period, you'll get respect from everybody.
There's a big thing out there, and I think, Hawk, you've heard this probably a million times before, and you actually kind of alluded to it, but you have guys out there that are goal scorers that they're not gonna get their nose dirty too often when they don't have to. But I think one of the biggest compliments you can give those guys that are scoring goals, like a Ben Steves kind of guy, Con, is he's willing. And just around the league, if they know the kid is willing, that can stop a lot before it starts, just because they know, well, he'll do it. He'll do it.
Yep. And that's you're not looking for it, but if it comes, it's there.
Right. So when you were in Sioux City, what are some of the things that you learned in Sioux City that you still take with you to this day?
Everything's in the details. And Jay and I believe Jay's comment was, it's all in the ingredients. And that's kind of how he went about it. And the ingredients are the little details, the stopping on pucks, winning little battles, strong sticks, making good passes. You're mentally always in the game, no matter how tired you get. Like, that was kind of Jay's thing, is build all your details up, so then the rest of your game you don't have to rely on, and it just comes easily. And that was the coolest thing. And I still hold that to me today, like big time. And honestly, I probably wouldn't be a lot of the player I am today without Jay and without Sioux City. So a lot of credits to him.
Growing up at, and I think I'm pronouncing this correctly, Macomb Township. That's also the same town in Michigan that another former Sioux City Musketeer came from, and Danny DeKaiser. He played a few years before you did. Was he kind of a role model for you? Did you look up to him? And I guess what a weird coincidence that arguably two of the best hockey players from that town ended up with the Musketeers.
Yeah, I didn't get to know DK until my freshman sophomore year of college. We used to train together at a place called 2SP. DK's an awesome guy. It was so much fun to be around him. He now runs a bunch of camps around the local Michigan area. I get to say hi to him. Last summer, I played in a Thursday skate with all the old timers. My line mates were actually Danny's dad and Mickey Redmond. So that was that made it a lot. Like,
that'd be a good game to watch.
Yeah, think about that. You're passing the puck to Mickey Redmond or Mr. DeKaiser. That's a good time.
What's the best time you've had playing hockey, Hawk? Like, you look back on it and go, gosh, that was just so much fun. I just enjoyed what a great time that was.
Like, winning's fun, but this past year we did something special. We went on an 18-game winning streak.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
That's unheard of in hockey.
Yep. And the group we had and the guys in the locker room, like that's like nothing I've ever experienced before. Like, winning is like, obviously the championship is the championship, but like the stuff we did in the locker room, like we were down to 8 forwards some games because it's the coast. Like, you're going to have guys called up, you're going to have guys hurt, you're going to have to play with 8 and 5, and we're still winning games and pulling things out like that. So it's
how much?
Go ahead, Con.
I was going to ask, how much fun is it right now to be playing in Toledo? Because for those that don't know Ohio geography, Bowling Green and Toledo are like right down the street from each other.
Yeah, it's awesome. And plus my parents get to come to every game. They're an hour and a half away. So they love it. And I absolutely adore the city and the people here. And it really kind of, to me, it speaks my background, like where my parents are blue collar people. We didn't come from much and they had to work for everything they got. And that's kind of how I feel like Toledo is. So it speaks to me definitely. And I love the people here and how they treat me and my family when they're here. So I absolutely love it. And I'll try to play here as long as they'll let me.
So trades, being, signing, getting released, moving, it's all part of the process when you're a pro hockey player, especially when you're playing in the AHL and whatnot. But what's that like for you? Because you get out of college and you realize like it's a business now. It really is a business now. Yep. How do you handle that aspect of trades? And you live out of a suitcase. It's hard to put roots down at a space because you can be gone the next day. What's that like, and how do you handle that?
It's one of those things you got to be comfortable betting on yourself, and that's the way I look at it. Every day you have to. I'm not going to say every day is a gamble because it's not, especially if you understand the game that you play and you're consistent at doing it. But you have to take a gamble on yourself and put yourself in the right situations. And if you don't like a situation, you need to get out of it. So, and whether that is working hard or trying to get traded or different things like that, pro hockey is a little different in terms of being a business. And it is handled that way at times, sadly. But you have to bet on yourself and you have to play your game to the best of your ability, and you'll find yourself in the right position no matter where you go.
Have you ever asked for a trade or been traded?
Nope, neither.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty rare for a guy that's been around, for a while in pro hockey, isn't it?
Yep. It's lucky. Like, my first year, our season ended with COVID. My second year, I was on Fort Wayne. We won everything. I got called up to Rochester, came back down. We won. Last year, I had a pretty bad injury, dislocated my wrist, had surgery, came back, played, got called up to Cleveland, came back down. We went all the way to the final, lost in game 6. And then this past year, got called up to Chicago, came back down, went to the conference final. So it's been a whirlwind, but luckily I've always kind of been in a place that I've really liked.
You've always had a really heavy shot, like a heavy shot. Is that God-given or is that made? Like, with the people that can absolutely burn it, is that just something that you grew up doing? Like, did you always have a heavy shot when you were a kid? I mean, and develop it, but like, is that one of those things? Like, look, God just reached down and made me what I am with that shot.
So, my dad growing up, I shot a lot of pucks. We had a shooting room at our house, so I shot 1,000 pucks a day, and that's kind of where it started. And then my dad had me. Yeah. When you're a kid and you have nothing to do, it didn't seem like a lot. But my dad had a drill where I would basically use a tractor tire as a puck, and you're not going to move the tire, but you're going to understand how to flex your stick. And when you go from hitting the tire to flexing your stick forward and shooting the puck, then it makes it a little more fun. Hold on, I'm saying hi to my fiance. I'm on a podcast. Do you want to say hi?
No. Hello. Well, we didn't want to say hi to her anyway.
Yeah. Hi. Sounds like my wife.
Yeah.
So you hit the tractor tire, and obviously you're going to flex your stick forward, and you're going to understand how to flex it at that point. So when you hit a puck and you go to move the puck, your stick's going to bend the correct way, and it's going to end up like a slingshot. And that's kind of what you're preparing your hands to do in that situation.
I think I probably know the answer to this question already, because you mentioned he taught you to shoot. He taught you to fight. Your dad has to be your biggest influence in the game of hockey, right?
Yeah, in terms of, like, he ran a roller hockey rink growing up. So I was a roller hockey player before I played ice hockey. That's where a lot of the skill stuff comes from, and the open space and everything. But he got me into it. A big credit to my grandma, because she was the one that would sit downstairs while I shot pucks, and she'd be the one calling out, like, I wasn't allowed to shoot where I wanted. She'd be picking corners and making me shoot there. So she's a lot credit to what I am today. My mom drove me to everything. So it's a whole family effort in the Hawkins household.
When did you first learn to ice skate then?
Well, I was on skates at 16 months old.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's early. That's really early. Yes.
Those were a brand of roller skate that the wheel wouldn't roll too far, so you kind of understood to learn your balance and stuff like that. So it was really cool to be on those, and then you progress to whatever. But to say that I got to be on skates at 16 months old is pretty neat.
Yeah, now going back to that viral goal that Travis talked about earlier, where did you practice that move? Where do you find the time to practice that move? How does that even come to be? Is that just messing around at the end of practice, or what?
And Hawk, can you teach it to Connor? And can you teach that to us? Can you teach us how to do that?
I 100% could teach it to you. I'd show you with a lacrosse stick first, but honestly, I blame my ADD. Like, I get bored, and then I try new things, and then things like that
happen.
So one day I was like, you do the Michigan move, the standard behind the net one. And then there's like the Michigan move where you do it and you turn and just throw it. And I'm like, well, if I have enough momentum, do you think I could pull it and carry it to my forehand? And then I started messing around with it. And then I did it that way. And then I did it on my backhand, and just all the little things that come from it. It's just creativity in the long run. That's the way I look at it. Would
you ever try that goal in a real game?
If I got a breakaway with enough space, probably. I've done the Michigan move. I've scored it on my backhand. I've done like a Michigan move on my backhand going to the net. Like, I've scored on change-ups. I don't really mind trying new things. It's kind of part of the game in today's world. You get to be creative without a couple of the old meatheads coming after you.
If you did it and missed, would the coach be pissed?
He'd probably be upset, but like, I played for Dan Watson, who's now the head coach of the Grand Rapids Griffins. He let me have a long leash when it came to my creativity, and it was really cool because his idea was like, I'm not going to stifle your stuff. You do your thing, whatever way you got to do it, and if it comes to that, get back on defense. And if I messed up, I got back. Period. And that's just how it was. And I got to. A lot of this stuff got to come about because of that. So I got to do it in games and make it work at full speed. And that made it even more of an anomaly now.
Is that the fanciest goal that you have in your repertoire, or is there more in your portfolio you just haven't unleashed to the world yet?
Oh, good question.
There's more in the portfolio.
I like that.
Okay.
I like that.
Yeah.
That's exciting for more viral videos.
Yep.
I spent 4 months. 4 months. You have a new one out there. You think?
Uh-huh.
I like.
Well,
Uh-huh.
well, I did one last year, and it didn't get as much traction as people thought it would. I faked a slap shot, kicked it, and walked around the goalie on a penalty shot, and
Is that out there?
that was a fun one.
Is that out there?
It's out there. Minor League Madness posted it.
We gotta look this up.
Yep. Minor League Madness.
So that was a fun one. Like there's just cool things I get to do because I have coaches that let me have creativity.
All right, so creativity. Were you creative, and then in the proposal to your girlfriend? Because you're engaged now. So
Yep.
if you're that creative, you better be creative in that sense too. So how'd you do it?
So we bought the house, and I hired a photographer. I told her, hey, like we got no pictures for the house. Like let's go have some professional pictures done. One of the guys on our team owns a 1800s cobblestone farm and barn.
Nice.
So it's really aesthetic, honestly. So aesthetically pleasing. And so we go there, we have a bunch of pictures taken and everything. At the very end, I did where I'm standing behind her and I'm holding the ring basically, and she can't see me, and proposed that way. So it was creative.
Bravo.
She had no clue that it was coming, which makes it better.
That's half the battle right there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's half the battle right there. What are you learning now? Like you're this far into a pro career. Are you still learning things a lot?
Every day.
Every day.
Every day. And the way and this is it's a cool quote, and if you're not growing, you're dying.
Yeah.
And I really like that, and I think it's very true that young guys are coming up. They learn things that I never learned. I've learned things that they never learned. Pick people's brains, ask questions. Doesn't matter how old you are. Doesn't matter how young you are. It's going to end up helping you in the long run. So the way I look at it is I pay a lot of attention. Last year it was cool because me and Kirill Tatayev would bounce ideas back and forth off of each other. And Tootsie's young. I think he's 23. I'm 29 now. So it's like, yep. I'm learning things from him. And then I've also played with TJ Hensick, who's a very, very good friend and one of my idols growing up. So I got to bounce ideas off him and hear how he played his career and little things to do and to prolong things to make you feel better in the end, body wise and different things. So you're always looking for a way to be better and a way to feel better. And that's kind of how I've been working with it lately.
Is the dream still to play in the NHL someday and have a shot?
Absolutely. But right now I want to win a championship, period, wherever I am. And I want to play as long as I can. And that's the way I look at it. Whether that's 40, 45, who knows? I'm riding it till the wheels fall off.
Ride it till you bucks here. You don't ride at all, my friend.
Yep. Period.
Yeah. So what do you want to do after life, after hockey? Anything? I mean, have you thought about that at all?
So I coach in the summer times with a lot of youth hockey, and I work for a place called it's Pillar Performance or Pillar Hockey, and run by Taylor Razka, who used to play for the Toledo Storm, and he had a stint in the USHL for a bit, but he's an awesome guy. He's a friend and a boss. But we coach kids anywhere from 6 and under to 18 and under, and it's personal coaching as well as like team stuff. We have a synthetic ice, a skating treadmill, and a full gym, and it's really cool to work with the kids and do everything like that. I always thought that I ended up in teaching, but I think when hockey's done for me, I'd really end up liking going into coaching.
Coaching is a form of teaching in a way.
Exactly. That's the way I look at it.
Absolutely.
And if I didn't do that, I'd be working in special needs.
Oh. Are you since you were with both of them, I want to ask what style coaching are you? Are you more Jay Varady or Luke Strand?
Jay Varady. Yeah, Jay Varady.
Hey, he stops. You see that? He's like, Jay Varady, stop.
Yeah. Jay Varady all day. I love Strander. It was.
How can you not?
And he used to mess with me too, and it's hilarious. And we go into games and be like, "Hey, you got to score. I'm trading you." He goes out, and then we get done with the game. He goes, I was just kidding.
After you scored 3 goals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, he found a way to get the most out of me. I liked it.
Absolutely. You know what buttons to push.
Yep. He's a heck of a human being. I love Strander.
All right. Are you ready for some rapid fire?
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Best memory in Sioux City.
Ooh. Hat trick against Omaha.
Favorite place to eat in Sioux City?
I don't know if it's still there. It was a little deli around the corner from the rink.
Oh, Little Chicago.
Yeah.
Not there anymore.
Not there anymore.
What?
But I know. I missed.
If it's not that, it's Mike Barazia's kitchen.
Smart answer. Smart answer. All right. Favorite player you've played with in Sioux City?
Well, that's messed up.
Why is that messed up?
Joe Snively.
All right. See,
Terry Hopenin.
Was that person you hated playing, person you disliked the most on another team?
I dislike most playing against another team. Ooh. Well, I hated him because he was good, so I'll say Montour.
Yeah, good. That was a good answer. Favorite place to play, not in Sioux City. So favorite place to play on the road.
I loved playing in Omaha and Lincoln.
Yeah. Well, parties. You know, they were crazy barns.
Oh yeah. And I think I'm the reason that they have a goal review cam in Omaha now after I put a puck through the net that year.
That's right. I remember that. That's true. All right, tell that story real quick. Tell that story.
So we're down. I think it was 4-1, and we came back. It ended up being like 4-3, but they called 2 goals off. One should have been a goal. Snivels scored in front of the net. Don't know why they called it off. And then we got a 2-on-1. I ripped a slap shot from just inside the slot, put it through the net, like literally like in through to the boards. And they didn't have a goal cam review, so they couldn't call it a goal. So they're looking at the camera that's up in the stands looking at the net. And obviously that's not going to pick it up. So again, no goal. We lose the game. And I think practice was hard the next day, but.
Well, it shouldn't have been.
Yeah.
You guys, yeah, okay, all right.
Should have won.
Should have won.
Yeah.
Guilty. The guilty song in your playlist that you probably like. Guilty pleasure.
Oh, I don't know. This is a guilty song.
Is it any Taylor Swift or anything like that?
Fantasy by Mariah Carey.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
Oh, wow.
Good. Yeah.
You went from like I don't know to like a deep.
Yeah, right. I don't know.
Think about it.
Got it.
Had to think about it.
Got it. First concert you ever been to?
Ooh, Eric Church, Kip Moore, Justin Moore, Frisco, Texas.
That was your first concert?
Yep.
Wow.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Last concert you've been to?
Last concert I've been to might have been Darius Rucker.
I like it. Okay.
That's another good one.
Favorite perk of being in pro hockey?
Being able to pass on my knowledge.
All right. And last one. Favorite NHL player of all time?
Brett Hull.
Big shot. Big shot.
Well,
Brett.
same initials. I wore the same number in Sioux City. I wear the same. Well, I wear 16 here because he was 16 as a Blue. So I wear 16 because of him. I wore 17 because of him in Sioux City. And we've had the same initials. I like to say I play kind of the same game. I'm a shooter. I find space. That's kind of always been me. And I modeled a lot of my shooting, a lot of my stuff off of him.
One more question. In 10 years, Brandon Hawkins will be
a Toledo Walleye.
I love it. I love
like
that. Yeah. I mean, you could have said like head coach of the City Musketeers or something like that, or assistant or something like that. I mean, that would have been good too.
I still want to be. I'm 29. I'll be 39. I'll still be playing.
Yeah, there you go. I like it. Well, hey, Hawk, it's always good catching up with you. I haven't talked to you in probably a decade, so it's been close.
Other than our little Twitter banter back.
Yeah, our Facebook and Twitter social media banter back and forth. But keep scoring awesome goals, and hopefully you can come back sometime and we can have you drop the puck and you can come back to Sioux City and everybody can get pat you on the back and tell you job well done.
Oh, we can definitely work something out. I'd love to come back. I still talk to a couple people there. Terry Dooley, who runs the children's home there.
Yeah, Boys and Girls Home Family Services.
Yep, she's awesome.
Based
She
off of
reached
Shirley.
out. Yep, she's awesome. She still reaches out on Facebook. Obviously, Mike, he's like a second dad to me, so we still get to talk all the time. But yeah, I something I've always wanted to do, and I'll always get a chance to come back.
Fantastic. Brandon, great catching up. And well, that's going to do it for another episode of Musketeer Made, presented by Fremont Tire. I'm Connor Ryan.
I'm Travis Morgan.
And until next time, see you later, everybody.
Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, Hawk.